I wish for you to practice more of these habits of taking a body scan meditation and doing that here, there, everywhere, multiple times a day. I encourage you to find those things that help you drop into your body. Maybe it's through dancing, through some form of exercise that you deeply love. Through singing is a big one for me. I'll be cooking and I'll be singing because it helps me quiet my mind. I'm not tuning into my thoughts anymore, and that's a beautiful thing. I do plenty of thinking, and some of it is redundant, and many of us do. And when there's that repetition, save it for a later time. Clearly, nothing's going to be unblocked from this revelation of the mind. Oftentimes, it's through embodiment that we have the biggest epiphanies. It was through me being in the shower, actually, that I came up with the idea of sharing this as a topic. Hey, you, I'm Anissa. Welcome to Create to Liberate. We're talking about embodied wisdom, embodied healing, how to live more in your body rather than in your mind. This topic is super relevant to so many of us, whether you're spending too much time online or just overthinking, or you're feeling exhausted and overwhelmed from a level of anxiety, which is also being caught in our mind and future orientation. Rather than being dropped into your body, then this is the episode for you. As always, I share wisdom from my own lived experience, as I believe we're all each other's mirrors. We provide a mirror to each other to be able to see ourselves more clearly and hopefully empower each other. If you enjoy this, like it on YouTube if you're watching there. Subscribe to this channel to support, and if you're listening on audio, a 5-star review is super welcome. So this topic is a continuation of something that I've addressed previously. I had an epiphany, and I've had this epiphany multiple times, to be honest with you. So many of us are feeling really exhausted, drained, overwhelmed, etc. We're in a very cerebral time, and it's because our orientation is really around living between the online world and in-person life. If you have a job that doesn't require any online life, then maybe less so for you, and I love that. I would love that for so many more of us to be really more dropped into how is the real world feeling rather than what's appearing on the online world, whether I'm scrolling news on social media, etc. What is actually happening in the world in front of me, this life that I signed up for. So I think because so many of us are actually living between different dimensions and we're not here, then there's this feeling of disconnection, this disembodied state of being. So when we're feeling really dropped into our body, really in touch with our senses, how do we feel against the chair that we're seated against? How is our skin feeling in connection with the air? Is the temperature appropriate for us? If you actually tune into your sensitivities, it can become overwhelming too, because you might realize you're actually uncomfortable. You might realize this way of operating isn't conducive to your well-being. And more often it's not, right? If we spend time tuning into our body after we spend maybe half an hour online, how do we feel? Most of us feel drained, exhausted, depleted. We don't feel more energized and more empowered unless we're the creators, which is why we are also called Create to Liberate, to be the ones that are energizing people back, sharing things that are empowering, uplifting, etc. But many of us are consuming as well. Admittedly, I was this morning, and it left me feeling depleted, and it reminded me of what so many of us are seeking, myself obviously included, is to be in connection with my body. Mindfulness is a practice to be aware of our thoughts, to be more dropped into the present moment. And we can do this as not just a meditation, but in our everyday life is essential. I find it to be that case for myself, as I'm definitely an Aquarius, I'm definitely a thinker, communicator, and tend to be a very cerebral person. However, it's so valuable, therefore, to counterbalance that with dropping into our body, sinking into our body. And how do we do that? Starting the day that way. I made the mistake I did today of thinking about things, overthinking about things, rather than just getting straight into my body through a workout. So movement is the biggest way to just bring us back into our breathing state. And by connecting with our breathing and our movement in our bodies through working out, I have this morning routine that really just catalyst is jumping jacks. I have a whole routine kind of that I'm disciplined around traditionally, and I did get to it, but I was very lethargic approaching it after I had gone off the deep end. And many of us can find ourselves in that battle constantly. We live in a society that's not conducive to our well-being, most of us. If you live in the United States particularly, it's a quite unhealthy landscape that we're dealing with. We're almost in a psychic battle all the time to reclaim our energy, reclaim our attention back to ourselves, to tune into our body, our well-being, and say, this is the life that I know will be more joyful. I know it will be more fulfilling for me to really be here, now, present, connected to my senses, able to notice all of the small things. Today, I had a conversation with a friend. I was like, did we ever go to this town or city in Colombia when we were traveling together backpacking? And we fit in so much in this backpacking trip that we had gone to that I didn't even remember days that we had spent in this city. She revealed to me that we had spent, in fact, multiple days in the city. And it just reminded me of how life can be if we are consuming so much. You can only remember but so many things. You can only retain but so many things. That's how the mind works. A lot will be stored in our unconscious and subconscious, but to really know that means, why are we doing so much? If you go on social media to scroll, yeah, you can look at 2 pieces of content. That's enough. That's enough, believe me. Because all of that other information is just lodging itself into your subconscious and unconscious mind. And it'll pop up at random times later. I'll have random celebrity inquiries arising in my mind. I'm like, I don't care about these people. This is super irrelevant to me. What am I doing right now in my life? I'm clearly not curious about the people who I love, who I care about, who I actually spend time with. Many of us are seeing people online doing things that are actually not connected to their bodies. So back in the day, or pre-social media, say you were interested in your future. What could a future path look like? And your path is obviously unique to you. Nobody ever will be able to recreate exactly the direction that you're going in, but you'd look around you. You'd look to things that you were interested in. Maybe you'd go to a lecture on something you're curious about. Maybe you'd actually attend a class or workshop about something that you were deeply interested in. Maybe you would talk to an elder. There were so many ways of gauging, what do I want to do in my future, or what does a future lifestyle look like that feels healthier, more nurturing, etc. And now it's rammed in our faces, so many visuals of lifestyles of people who are doing things, and we subconsciously or unconsciously are retaining that as, those are the options for me. The options for me are to start a podcast. The options for me are to become a celebrity, a sports person, all of these flashy things, because that's what's being pumped by the algorithm. A lot of it is sensational. A lot of it is what grabs attention, what gets viewership in that way. So I was having this moment of being I really don't feel like that I've seen what I desire. And then I had to think to the fact that, well, I love going to yoga classes, and those teachers are incredibly embodied. They're so deeply present and dropped in when I have an amazing class with an amazing teacher, and I know that feeling. And that feeling is something that would never transfer super well online. And I've seen people who are just doing things that I don't particularly have an interest in. Maybe it's they're pro surfers now, or doing acro yoga, or doing something that's really cool. And I just see them embodied in their bliss state, in their flow state. Oftentimes we don't see captures of people in their flow state, just really loving what they're doing. Because at those times, they're often private. At those times, it doesn't even visually look that engaging, but you can feel it when you see them. I feel that way even when I take dance classes. Usually in a dance class, at the end, once you've learned the choreographed routine, you're split into group A and group B. The people who are dancing while you're just watching, waiting for you to do the choreography, they're all, every single one of the dancers that I look at are embodied in a powerful flow state of just being and expressing for the most part. And it's a beautiful thing to watch. And so often we don't get visuals of that. That's not what's trending. That's not what we're seeing. We're reading about a lot of things that are dropping us down into this lower vibrational state of existence that aren't expanding our imagination into what a fulfilling life really looks like. A fulfilling life is one that has richness, because you're savoring every single sip. You're not wanting a moment of it to go missed. You're not trying to fast forward. You're not scrolling past. That's a life that's really beautiful. And even in the mundane moments, there's beauty that we can notice if we drop into our senses. Say we're running an errand, just dropping off the box. We can notice, oh, how can I take this opportunity to make the person at the post office a little happier? I'm sure they've had a hard day. How can I be extra kind to them? How can I take in the sights of people around me? I haven't seen these neighbors. I live in a big neighborhood and I haven't recognized any of these people. How can I just take in the faces of all these humans that live in proximity to me because we're sharing the same post office? How can I stand in line and feel into my body and see how it feels, and just do a body scan and see if there's any tension that I'm carrying, any anxiety, any stress? Did I make up a story when I walked into the post office that, oh, this is going to take a long time, it's going to be horrible? Or did I release that? How long did it take for me to release that? So I think there's so many moments for us to actually make our mundane, average lives sensational, exciting, deeply rich and nourishing. And I wish that for you. I wish for you to practice more of these habits of taking a body scan meditation and doing that here, there, everywhere, multiple times a day. I encourage you to find those things that help you drop into your body. Maybe it's through dancing, through some form of exercise that you deeply love. Through singing is a big one for me. I'll be cooking and I'll be singing because it helps me quiet my mind. I'm not tuning into my thoughts anymore, and that's a beautiful thing. I do plenty of thinking, and some of it is redundant, and many of us do. And when there's that repetition, save it for a later time. Clearly, nothing's going to be unblocked from this revelation of the mind. Oftentimes, it's through embodiment that we have the biggest epiphanies. It was through me being in the shower, actually, that I came up with the idea of sharing this as a topic, because I was like, why do I feel so good when I step into the shower? And this is a moment for many of us to get clear on. There's certain moments that people love for no reason. Maybe it's driving. Some people find themselves so zoned in and present when driving. Why is that? Well, for me, it's showering, like being in connection with water. When I go swimming in the ocean, nothing is there. Nothing is here but that moment in front of me. And it's connection with source. It is our most expanded version of self to be in flow state. And I wish that for you. I'm sending you so much love and embodying more of that high vibrational energy that we want to see more in the world by being the living example of that for others. If this resonates with you, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel for supporting. And if you're listening on audio, 5-star review, super welcome. I'm sending you so much love and reconnecting with your breath in more moments in the day and tuning back into your body throughout more moments of the day, engaging with more of your senses and releasing all of the overthinking, all of the overwhelm, worrying, trying to project future, analyze, forecast, etc., and really just savor what is now and what's here. Much love. Appreciate you being here.